Hello, this is the branch vlog for 0.1.8.8, the hotkeys and items one, just here. Kind of self-explanatory. In terms of items, it's the consumable and material items I currently have already kind of built a background on. It's not every single item that's going to be in the game. So that's like the scope of the items. And hotkeys, it's just around a couple of issues that have popped up during development, and expanded like a couple of bits of functionality. But yeah, like another interim branch between like I've just come off the enemies and doors one, which was a really big one, and I'm just going into the NPCs one. Play like idle animation NPCs, placeholders, getting it all kind of prepped up, just like the enemies. A lot of them just have idols. That sort of branch. So big branch beforehand, big branch after. This is an interim one. So let's get started. The update or add in NavMeshes to all current rooms. So that is all current rooms except from the bathrooms and the initial level, the initial room. So if I press P, that's the nav mesh, and not ultimately perfect yet, but you can see like this is the green is where the enemies can travel. He shouldn't be down there, but he does actually he does actually appear properly. Interesting. I'll need to look at that. But yeah, just like that one, and I'll just crack open another one. That's Jackie's bedroom. Yeah, so there you go. P. So not perfect. Need a couple of things. I think I might need to exempt the chair from interacting with the nav mesh. One of these settings down here. But yeah, that sort of thing. They're all kind of prepped in place. And what's next? Convert Item Sprites to come from thumbnails with no background and no name. Yeah. So this one, originally the items, I had them items set brush from texture, because you can't get set brush from sprite, but I discovered you can use set brush from like Atlas group, and then you can feed in a sprite, kind of like brute force it in. Seems to work. Other people have done it as well. So originally all the items came in like, I made individual ones in their own individual diffuse and normal, and then in Photoshop, and then I pull them in, you see, for each one, and so on and so forth. And I will still do this sort of concept one by one for scenery items, but if we're talking items that are collectible, then those items will come from the thumbnail equivalent, which is here. So thumbnails version 2. So what this one is talking about here is, these are the thumbnails with the background, with a bit of writing. That's what it looks like when you pick up. It goes in your inventory or your hotbar. That's what you see. In terms of that specific point, it is, it's like sometimes it's a nightmare to remember where everything is, even when you rearrange it. Where are you? Items, sprites, version 2. Version 2, you see, it's the thumbnails, but it's the thumbnails without the background and the writing. So kind of self-explanatory, I suppose. But yeah, that sort of thing. Not perfect. As you can see, lots of spaces, because this is what we're working with at the moment. So they're all 70 by 70s. Can't really see it very well here. If I just grab the thumbnail, you see what I mean. That sort of thing. So it looks like that at the moment. Just placeholders, getting somewhere. So like the magazines are very old style ones. I need to make them look like the proper magazines when you pick them up. But yeah, tweaked it a bit. Now it says like poison, ice, fire, like dragon fire, all the different I guess you say item effects. And then I'm going to use a bunch of these. So the grey line, are materials. They're classed as like a materials category, and usual games, you kill something, it drops something. You open up like I don't know, a box. It's got something in it, and you can glue it all together for like crafting. These are realistically what the crafting things are going to be, and then these consumables. Some of them are going to be craftable. Going forward, you're not going to be able to get stamina med kits and all that sort of stuff, but all just placeholders for the time being. Stamina is more likely to come from, like, I guess you'd say like edible, drinkable consumables, like food sources, rather than not so much like chemical sources. So that's that. That's this one. Added missing idle crouch animations. Yeah, just one of those things, I guess. All these, well, it doesn't look that many when you do it like that, but from all these like 1200 odd sprites into this animation source, there was just a handful where there was still version 2 for like the idle. So that's when you press crouch and he's staying still. So yeah, so I just had to find them. Oh, it was needle in a haystack. I was like, for example, I think that one is like sprite 232 out of 1200, and I had to remind myself the logic I did it in. So I wasn't going mad looking at all those different squares. New items, yeah, items to increase health, so like a max increase. More pretty fun to do. I've currently got that's it. Yeah, I've got blueprints. I've got assets, which is the sprites textures versions, and I've got blueprints, which are the code versions of it. So blueprints item consumable. We've got heal, so like those med kits. We've got increasing, so like the max increase, so these four, and then we've got regeneration, which are these four. So if I just show you the increase ones first of all, really straightforward logic. I'll just crack open the main character blueprint as well, so you can follow it along. So we've got, these are the heal items, heal, so health, stamina, stress, infection. They're already done. I've just streamlined them. These are the max health increase ones, so the four I've got highlighted here. Some of these could technically be functions, but you'll see later on, certainly with the regeneration, I can't turn them as functions because I can't put a delay in a function. So at the time of making this, the regenerations, I can't see them being functions. These two definitely could, the standard heal and the standard increase. But let's look at the increases. So the item is like a master item equivalent, so like a child of the master item. Increase max value, so that is very simply, it is just a float on here. Let's pick health. So it's just a float on the left and event unused. So put increase health, that max value, so it's 10. I believe it's 10 for all of them at the moment. And then after you've healed, after you've done it, so this right there is this that you see highlighted, this thing. So increase health feeds through that max plus the max current max health sets the new max health, and then the new max health goes into the game instance. So it does an event dispatcher call. Loads of videos about event dispatchers and all the joys that come with that. I've got floating around. And then current health, just because if I have that as that, current health will then be 0. So I can't remember if that would trigger an instant death when you increase health, or it would wait for you to be attacked and then go less than 0. But either way, you need a placeholder. Unless the only way I could get around it would be if I had event dispatcher just for max health. But you'll see here, bottom left, not that one. Saving. I've already got enough with all the breakdowns and loads of other stuff. So that's that one. Needs new sound effects for increasing max health, regeneration as placeholder. Same again for stamina, stress, infection. Very similar process. Uses it, removes it, and then destroys the actor. So like, just gone. It's not needed anymore. You've used it. You've consumed it. It's consumable. Infection does not regenerate. Does not regenerate after level changing. So this was because a while ago, when I was doing the flow through from, you go into a new level and you've got a carrying that you've got to feed the variables into a game instance or a save slot, ideally both. I do both, like an autosave and a game instance. And then when you go into a new level, you need to pull that back out of the save slot of the game instance, feed it back into the game. So that's what you see here. That's event begin play. Feeds. Definitely can be streamlined now I know more. And then play game. Feeds through here, and I had it triggers a recover stress and a recover stamina. So if I show you what that means I will one day fix that. It's really simple. I've been saying that for a few videos. Top right, pointing at the screen, but you can't see it, yellow. So jump or run with his little T-Rex arms at the moment. Regenerates, great. New level. Keeps regenerating. Perfect. Same with stress. So let's get mauled a bit. There we go. Oh, okay. Oh no, you can't die from max stress. It's just infection. So you see, we go into here, and the stress will go down, and the stamina will go up. If you watch it closely, there you go. You see it's dropping, and the infection goes down as well. On the left, you can actually see the stress one. If I do aim, it will show stamina. If I do crouch, it will show health. If I do holster, I think holster's infection. Unholster, there we go, infection. You see, if you watch it, it's dropping down 0.75 every 5 seconds for infection. I might as well show you the recovery things while I'm here. See the infection recovery. If I just use it,
you healed, boy.
That's very old, that one. You see, it's gone from 1 to 3. That is the multiplier rate. So it's still every 5 seconds your health goes down, but it's now 0.75 times 3. So what's that, like 2.25 drop every 5 seconds? So that should be, what, 11? Yeah, thank God I can do maths. So yeah, 11. So that's what that's doing. That lasts for 60 seconds, and then I'll drop back down to 1. The initial issue was the infection wasn't going down, and that was because I added these in ages ago. It's like almost like you've got to jolt start it to make it go, oh hey, is our like stamina not max? Okay, let's increase it. Or like, oh hey, is our stress not minimum? Let's increase it. And then same thing with infection. Is our infection not 0? Jumpstart the recover infection, and you see it does the whole thing, and then at the end it goes, okay, so recover infection again, loop around. Okay, are we at 0 yet? No, keep going, loop around until we're at 0, and then current infection is equal to or less than 0. Technically it shouldn't ever be less than 0 unless I'm using a recovery kit, I think. And then if true, then nothing, and it kills it. But I need to jumpstart it when I enter the level, just like I've jumpstarted the others. So that's what I was missing. I saw it by chance in the end. In the process of all that, I actually streamlined a bunch of code, so it was helpful either way. Health regeneration, as you just saw me using with the infection regeneration, similar sort of concept. Consumable regeneration, health, so regeneration value is 3, so it multiplier of 3. Same thing again, but regen, so it uses this element, and yeah, so you inject yourself. I even make it say inject rather than heal or anything when you right click and use it. Sets the multiplier, currently 1, sets it to 3. Plays a sound, 60 seconds, defaults it back to 1. I could realistically have like a default recovery multiplier, but at the same time I could just type 1 for the time being. Same thing. Interesting. That should be 1. You see, bug testing on the fly. So that's that one. That's those 4. Dragging and removing items from the slot doesn't go. Yeah, more kind of not seeing the wood through the trees, I suppose you'd say here. So on this, there is a bit where not the widget, it is the slot inside the widget. There's a thing here. So when you drag it, when you like drag over, originally there was a drag over issue where if I just show you it, like it was kind of colouring them, but then it'd stay like that. Or if I right click this, that would be like a dark colour rather than this standard colour, and that was because the default tint I did mistakenly, as you see that grey when we play it, that grey, I did it as that grey, but tint is not the same as colour. Tint tints the colour, so a white tint is pure colour. So that used to be grey like that, so it kind of did a greyed grey, a darker grey, and changed it to white, and now that's, as you saw, it just went back to the default colour. So that was that. It was more kind of me just a while ago did the hotbar, just didn't really understand the tint, like the tint logic specifically. Removed hotbar slot amount count. Yeah, partly because it got in the way, and partly because, well, it doesn't matter if you've got 5 million or you've got 1 or whatever. If you've got something, it's there.
You healed, boy.
If you haven't, you haven't. There you go. Health regeneration rate is 3. So just showing it working, and then yeah, it's 1 for the ones that haven't had that injection. So that's that. Added animation, hotbar slot interaction. Really simple, just play around with it mostly. So you see, we drop it, goes like that. Click it, doesn't do anything. Well, it does do something. If I double click it, that's the next thing we're going to go into. Yeah, there you go. So just makes it like, I guess, contract and expand. Just a little play around with the animation. Adjusted the menu of that. Yeah, it was kind of getting in the way, so I kind of just put it on like the bottom, just a bit lower and a bit more to the left. These sprites thumbnails do need to be widened a little bit. I've played around with it, so they'll be a bit easier to read because there should be a few more pixels, less padding. That's that. Resize items. Yeah, because the items go from thumbnails, and the thumbnails are 70 by 70, and a bunch of these assets are still kind of 70 by 70. Like, I had to turn it into like 0.25 of itself. So I just grab a thing here, crack that open. There you go, 0.25. Because if they were like the full sprite scale, they would be huge. So it's 0.25 because it's a quarter scale of the thumbnail. Because even though that looks small, that's 70 by 70. And for example, my character is 140 by 140, like on the square. But as you can imagine, he's not square, is he? So he's not a full 140 by 140. And on top of that, I've shrunk him to 0.5 of himself. Not that one, another one, because otherwise he'd look like a giant. So yeah, just a bit of I guess size management at the moment. Not perfect yet. A bunch of stuff needs to be upscaled in pixels, so then the sprite scale will be not need to be like quartered as much. Might need to be halved, or might be able to do just like 1:1:1 for XYZ scale. But at the time being, it's just a balancing act between upgrades. And created left click hotkey functionality. Yes, originally there was no. I left it with no left click, so I thought about doing one left click, but later on I want to have one left click to be like a left click drag, so I've done it as a double left click. Pretty straightforward. So let's get the slot. I did it on the slot on the double click. So here we go. So it's an override. It's not here anymore because once you do an override, it takes off the list. But there's something on the list called on mouse double click, on mouse button double click on this list, just like all the others. These are on the list once if you don't select them, and then they disappear. So yeah, the mouse vent is left click, and the slot is not empty. True. Then use item index, which is the same use item index as everything else, and then inventory index, feed that in. The inventory index is fed into the slot when I drag it on, so that's how it holds the inventory index. That's how it just is able to kind of inform it where to go. And then yeah, if it is empty, do nothing, just like ping it straight through as handled. If it is true, then do that and that. And yeah, that's the branch really. A bit of a quick one. As you know, if you've seen a couple of these branch vlogs before, I like to discuss what I'm going to do like a little bit into the future. So April the 1st was when I officially started the production of these assets. It was technically April the 11th because I did a little bit more documentation I wanted to fill out. But that's first was when I officially said, right, I'm going to kick off production of the proper assets, the 70 by 70s. I did do a 35 by 35 a long time ago when I was just playing around with stuff before I fully wrote the game story and all the interaction and all the cool stuff. So 1st of April is the 1 year anniversary since I've been doing this. So between now and the 1st of April, I want to get a bunch of the NPC idols done. You'll see in the previous branch, and you also saw when I do these enemies, if I just show you while I'm talking, the older enemies, they, like the version 2s, the more pixely, squarey ones, can like move up and down like that with the arms, up and down. They do the faces, they eat you, they attack you. But the others kind of had like a loopy idle thing going on. Not these guys, like that green guy in the green. Watch him move, like his legs that move. These fellas, so they're just all idols. I'm gonna do something like that for the NPCs, but the NPC idols will be a bit different because the NPCs aren't going to be walking around roaming, hunting for things. Different sort of, I guess, behavior. So the idols will still be idols, but some NPCs will only ever have an idol realistically, except from maybe make their mouth open and close when you interact with them or something. Maybe do like a random secondary idol, if you stay around long enough and watch them, as some games have. So that's what the next branch is going to be, the 0.1.8.9. I don't think I'll get all the NPCs done between now and the 1st of April, simply because there's the interacting NPCs. Even though I'm only doing the idols, there's like the key game character NPCs. There's the, I guess you call them like the fluff NPCs, just to like build a bit of life into it. And the enemies are they're quite similar at the moment. They'll look more defined in like their version 4 final form, more unique looking between one another. The NPCs, I'm going to spend more time really defining their characteristics, because unlike the enemies, like if one of them's got both his legs missing, well, he's a new type of enemy, isn't he? But I can't exactly just like cut some NPCs' legs off and go, oh, there you go, he's a new NPC. So I have to make it a bit more subtle, a bit more nuanced. The difference between, let's say, some dude with brown hair and some other dude with brown hair. Also, there will actually be female characters as well. I realised halfway through the enemies that I haven't done any female enemies, but yeah, is what it is. It's not it's not just going to be only men on the spaceship. So that's the big one. 1st of April, I think I'm doing a video of like the whole thing of like what I've done so far, not in this granularity of detail, and what I want to do over the next year. I only moved to GitHub when I went to January 24, but as you can imagine, there's April 2023 to January 24 was just like not GitHub, so there's an awful lot that's not logged here. And then after I've done that, I'm going to work in, I call them rooms, but realistically they're levels in Unreal. Like you saw, I went into the hallway, I went into a different bedroom. They're levels. So levels, rooms, interchangeable when I'm talking about it. I'm going to work on the cafeteria. I've already got a bunch of the assets done for this, so it's the last thing I'll show you. Items, sprites. You see here, there's an older version of this game I created where I actually created a cafeteria with like functioning perspective drawn tables and chairs, and then the enemies you could you get a bunch of enemies and you can do some sort of like, is it Benny Hill, where they do the music in the background and he just runs around and people chase him. You can do like that sort of thing in the cafeteria with all the tables and chairs. That was quite fun. So as you can see, you've got a bunch like them already done. Was there were other assets? There's loads here. For a bit of detail, when you see that arrow, we talk about shelves, it's these, and it's simply because I haven't changed it to the new blueprint. So everything's already there. It just needs updating. But yeah, I think that was it for the cafeteria I did at the moment. I did do some basic like hobo-esque walls and floors, so like this thing, just like like in the bedroom you could see like the stars going behind it, but the stars is just a flip book, and I've just cut a hole out the wall for the bedroom here. Then that's just a hole, and that's just like these animations you've seen. It's just one of them, but with dots, and I just make it do that. I did that sort of thing, just cut out windows for the cafeteria. So there is like a version 1 that was alright, but I scrapped it when I redefined, I like upgraded a bunch of stuff. And yeah, this is a very long way of me saying the branch that I've highlighted there, 0.1.8.8, will be full cafeteria, so it'll be a full spec'd out, at least the version 3 quality. So version 4 is like polished, version 3 is pre-polished, but correct size, pixels and everything. Like the stuff you've seen already is kind of version 3 quality. To that quality for the cafeteria level, and then after that, I don't know yet. There's an awful lot to do. It's really fun. It's thinking just what's next. So I think cafeteria would be a good thing to do, because off the cafeteria branches the kitchen, like the back, like the behind the counter sort of stuff. The crafting functionality, so you make food. kind of in the prologue bit just to get used to crafting. A bit of NPC interactivity, and because I've got the NPC idols there, I can do like a little quest for the crafting, for like literally make your own burger for the first crafting quest, some daft one I'm going to do in the protagonist, the prologue. So you see they feed into one another, so it's all about making things like the next branch that complements and builds upon the previous. And this is a very long video for a very minor intermediate branch, and that's that. I hope you like it. I will have the 1st of April video, like the 1 year anniversary video, out on the 1st of April. I don't think I'm going to get the 0.1.8.9 branch done in time. That's probably going to be mid-April, because it's a lot of work as well, because you see all those NPCs you did, all those enemies that I did like a little thing over. I did all the assets, so you see all these different enemies, and every single one of these had to be done in a sprite sheet and crack it open, and then all the animation sources, and then I had to do like there's like the injured equivalents, the uninjured equivalents, and then there's the blue and green differences, and then the deaths. And let's say and that's just for 2 different colours, going from uninjured to injured, 2 different variants of the same enemy. Currently there's only like the idle uninjured versions, well, as uninjured as a zombie can be. These are deaf, so they're going to function without the sound AI roam ability. They'll only work on like visual and well touch. If you bump into them, they'll react. So that's that. But I've got to do all this for the NPCs, and then there's the blueprint equivalent for the enemies. So that's the deaf one. So zombie, deaf, and then the animation blueprint, the actual blueprint. The actual blueprint is quite straightforward, but the animation blueprint is, oh, what have we got? What have we got for this one? Let me just close all to the right. This. So not all NPCs will have I realise it's called NPC health. It should be enemy health, but either way, yeah, not all the NPCs will have an injured. I don't think I'm going to give them an injured. Certainly not like the fluff sort of room filler and NPCs. But still, I'll only probably have one version of each one as well, so I probably won't need multiple state machines. I'll probably just need like one. But then even inside that one state machine, you've got like the idle, probably an idle, a walk, a talk, maybe a death. Yeah, so as you can see, that's a lot of work, and that's just for one enemy on basic animations. I'm going to have to update everything when I create more and more and more. On the animation side, the art side, the blueprint side, the AI behavior side. NPCs will be a bit more condensed version of that, but still, it'll be a fair bit of work. And I should have just said I don't think I'll get it done for 1st of April, but yeah, there's a bit more background into it. A bit further down the line, I might do some sort of long form content, longer than this, where I'm working on things and I'm like speaking. You can like understand my logic behind it, get a bit of an insight, like raw sort of look. But yeah, that's something ahead in the future. And yeah, I'll see you soon.